Hey guys, it's Jake Mace, the vegan athlete. Welcome to my channel. Before this video begins, hit the like button for me, hit the bell button, and comment down below. I'll get in there, interact with you guys in the comments, and hit the subscribe button. Very important to subscribe to my channel. You've been on my channel before. This is my friend Shamus O'Leary, and we're here at his Green Life West food forest property, which we've covered before on the Vegan Athlete channel. You got about 2 acres or so, 2.5 acres here.
Yes, sir.
This property is an old property in West Phoenix called Glendale, and it's flood irrigated, which means twice a month it fills up with river water.
Correct.
And why does it do that? And talk about how much the water costs you to do that, and what's the quality of the water when your property fills up like a lake?
Well, it does that because this is old farmland, so it comes with water rights, and the water comes from the Colorado River down through the canal system, Phoenix.
Okay.
And we have ports on the property. We open them twice a month, and we get about 3 hours of water, and it comes through knee deep. It costs a little over $100 a year.
$100 a year?
$100 a year.
A year.
And you can see the growth rate of anything that is put in the ground. We'll show you some stuff that was just planted 2 years ago as small 3-gallon plants, and now they're mature, 10 and 15-foot trees. I don't even fertilize the trees over here. I should, but I don't.
Because of all the minerals in the water.
The river water actually takes care of everything.
Yeah.
And
you are using a lot of mulch and wood chips and stuff too.
Mulch, yes, definitely mulch. But as far as fertilizing itself, I don't have the time to get over here to take care of it like I should. And fortunately, the river water takes care of that for me. But you could see how green it is, and that's just because of the water.
And I know that you are also a very good business person, and when you looked for this property, you kind of treated it like a business. You were very kind of picky with what property you were going to turn into a food forest.
Correct.
And so this property, I know you loved it because it already had some existing fruit trees that were mature and beautiful, that are kind of serving as an infrastructure and a microclimate creator for the fruit trees that you wanted to plant yourself. Right.
What we have here, in addition to the palms, are mature 50-year-old pecan trees.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Mature figs, citrus. There's 30-foot oleander bordering part of the property.
You got some date palms.
Yeah, so we have all the shade we need in the summer. The large trees, the mature vegetation acts as a windbreak.
Yeah.
Stays a little warmer in the winter because of that. Also traps the humidity. So you could feel the humidity over here is probably 2 to 3 times what it is out on the street because of the flood irrigation, the grass, the amount of vegetation, the windbreaks. And because of what I like to grow, which are the tropicals, that's absolute heaven. I've got a 2-acre microclimate that I can do anything with. So that's what we're in the process of doing.
I mean, those 4 things you mentioned are key for anybody out there who is looking to create a food forest, especially in the desert. Keeping it warm in the winter, cool in the summer, offering a windbreak, raising the humidity, and getting water into the property that has minerals in it.
Correct.
You got it all.
Yes, fortunately here. Yeah, I got lucky. I got lucky with this.
Well, for the folks out there watching, sit back right now, hit the like button. Shamus O'Leary will take us for a tour of the property, and we'll go for about 30 minutes or so, and you can show us all the delicious edibles you have planted.
Sounds good.
Okay, let's go. Okay, we're gonna start here and work our way around the property. So what do we have?
First tree here is an Australian white mulberry, which was planted about 2 years ago. Small little 3-gallon plant. Horrible location for it. I screwed up on this one. I planted way too close to the mulberry. I don't know what I was thinking at the time.
Or way too close to the oleander.
To the oleander, yes, to the oleander. So the mulberry actually should have been a little further out in the yard. But
now I know that mulberry does lose its leaves and goes deciduous in the winter, so technically you could move it out once it fell asleep.
At this point, it's kind of large and these roots are pretty deep, so that's going to be a bit of a problem. So I'm probably going to just chop it back and turn it into a bush.
Oh.
Because what's next to it is of great value to me.
So what's next to it?
This here is one of my babies. This is a monkey pod. And this was grown from seed that I brought back from Kauai a few years ago.
Okay.
It's been through 2 winters. These are extremely cold sensitive.
Okay.
It was actually growing underneath the oleanders a few months ago, and it wasn't getting any sun, so it was growing kind of uneven.
Wow.
So a couple months ago, we pruned back the oleanders and staked this up. And now that it's getting sun, it's gone 2-3 times in size in the past couple months.
Because the issue with monkey pod in the Phoenix area is the winters are too cold for it.
Correct. They love sun, they love heat, but the cold is the issue.
Wow.
So the oleander here acts as a nurse plant and protects it from the wind, and also notice it's on the southern exposure.
Right.
So In the winter, it gets all day sun. It never has a
super
chance to get too cold, so that's why it's on the south side of the property here. And I'll just keep cutting away the oleander to allow this to grow.
Now these monkey pots can have enormous canopies, like you're talking
They're huge.
60, 80-foot canopies.
They'll cover an acre with time.
Well, you let me come back in 5, 10 years and see what this guy's size is?
We probably won't be talking at that time, but I'll send you pictures. You can check out my YouTube channel, Shamus O'Leary, and then you can see it.
Eventually, you might actually be able to cut the oleanders down.
Oh, yeah.
And have this be the microclimate producer.
That's actually the plan.
Wow.
I'll just keep cutting away the oleander as this needs space.
Sure.
The mulberry will get turned into a bush, and that's fine with me.
That's awesome.
So,
cool.
The moral of that story is never be afraid to correct mistakes.
Okay.
You know, the mulberry was planted in a bad spot in relation to the other plants.
Yep.
Cut them back. It's not life and death. You can start over and move the trees or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
And in the Phoenix area, desert Southwest, we have an abundance of sun.
Yeah.
So we're not like shading things out as much as like Portland or Seattle would because we have so much sun here.
Yeah, exactly.
And even though you have some things that are mature that we're going to show everybody, you're still kind of planting new little saplings that are experiments or whatever. So we have this guy here.
This is a jamun, otherwise known as Java plum.
Java plum.
Jambul. Grows a small, dark purple, tart, sweet fruit, popular in Southeast Asia and India.
And we picked up one of these together for Longevity Gardens, my original garden, and now it's like 5 times the size a few years later, so it actually does do well in the Phoenix area.
Yeah, they do very well. There's a large tree in my neighborhood that's 13 years old.
That's amazing.
That does now produce. This guy here was struggling in a 5-gallon pot for a couple of years. It was neglected, wasn't being fed. This was just planted a couple months ago, so now it's just now starting to put out some new growth. The new leaves are really pretty.
Looks great.
And
kind of waxy.
Kind of looks like a ficus a bit.
Yeah.
And then behind us here,
what is this?
that is a Java olive, otherwise known as poon tree.
It looks almost like a papaya.
Yeah.
It's called a poon tree?
Poon tree, yes, otherwise known as skunk tree.
Okay.
And in Southeast Asia and the South Pacific, these will grow into 100-foot monsters. Beautiful trees, no fruit, but it does produce a sap that's used in drinks in Vietnam and Thailand. This is something I just learned the other day.
Wow.
That it does have an edible aspect to it.
Maybe like a sugary taste or something, right?
Yeah.
Wow, I should come by and lick this tree.
You would think so if I would allow that, but no.
What do you have next to it?
This is a blue jaboticaba.
A blue jaboticaba?
Blue jaboticaba. This sat in a pot for 8 years, planted about 4 months ago.
Okay. Does it grow the Brazilian grapes on the trunk like the standard jaboticaba?
Yes, and also further out on the branches.
Okay.
Now, because this was in a pot, it was kind of shoved towards the back and wasn't getting a lot of sun. It was getting babied a bit and kind of forgotten. Once we planted it, it started getting a bit more sun, so we've got some sunburn here on the leaves, but the tree's okay.
But it's newly planted, so it still has to acclimate itself.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm not going to baby it, so it'll be fine. It'll push out some new growth this winter, and it'll be fine from there.
And I can see as we're kind of walking backwards here, we're getting into a lot more of a dense kind of forest kind of atmosphere.
Yeah.
What do you got here?
These are ice cream bananas, actually from Joey's yard.
Isn't that like a blue banana?
Yes, blue Java.
Blue Java.
And this was planted as a pup.
So you brought a pup from your friend Joey's yard to here, and now they're all growing on the same corm or the same root system.
Yeah, this thing's only 4 months old.
Really? That's
around
awesome.
there. Yeah, July-ish.
Wow, looks great.
He's doing fine.
Yeah.
And then behind it, we've got a 2.5-year-old African Pride Adamoya.
I was gonna say, it looks like Adamoya.
Yeah.
And sugar apple, cherimoya, Adamoya, all in the same family.
Yes. Cherimoya, Adamoya, sugar apple, soursop, Rolenia.
Yep.
Llama. Okay. Adamoya. This was another one that was growing kind of slowly, and then a few months ago we cut back part of the oleander to improve the airflow. And once we did that, the tree really took off. So it's put on 4 or 5 foot of growth in the past couple months.
Do you think in the next 2 years you'll get some fruit maybe on this, some flowers?
Yeah, actually, we've had flowers the past 2 years. Now, the thing with the Anonas is that we don't have all of the pollinators here, the insects that work these trees.
Oh, I see.
So they're kind of sparse. So if you hand pollinate them, one flower to another with a Q-tip, you'll get a lot higher pollination rate. So they are self-pollinating, but you just give them a little bit of help.
Cool. The one I got from you 3-4 years ago has flowered also for the last 2 years, but I didn't know I could help with Q-tip pollination.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I've been kind of lazy about it the past couple of years, but this upcoming year I'll definitely get out here and do that.
But it's thriving. I mean, it's got a nice bushy shape and it's doing it.
And this one is actually on a little higher part of the yard, so it actually doesn't get the flood irrigation most of the time. This is just growing on its own for the most part.
Let's disappear into this part of the food forest. So we're gonna go cover a different corner of your food forest here,
Yeah.
but what's behind us? Just name some of the varieties that the audience can see behind here.
Strawberry loquat here. Over here we have Kai apple, a male and a female.
We planted this one, we got this one together.
Yeah, that was planted 2 years ago.
Kai apple, wow, it's like they call it the defense for lions in Africa, right?
Yeah, they use it as fencing instead of barbed wire in
Look
Africa.
at these thorns. They're insane.
Now this is, there's 2 plants here. This is a male and a female.
These needles are crazy.
And I actually had this staked up 2 months ago, and the weight of it took it over, so I've got to restake it.
Yeah.
But we should get some good fruit next year. It's put out a lot of growth lately. We have some Manzano bananas, the apple bananas. Another loquat. I think that's a Vista White.
Okay.
And these are dwarf Cavendish bananas, which we planted in April. They were just small pups. They've taken off nicely.
Cavendish banana is more the one people are used to at the store.
Correct.
But a dwarf one would be great because then the monsoon wind won't blow it over.
Yeah, this is actually the mature height.
That's
for
great.
dwarf Cavendish. Behind us here we have a sunrise mango.
Wow.
That since we've put it in the ground has dropped all the old beat up growth. And it's all new growth from the past 3 months.
That's awesome.
It's doing nice.
So you
June
got
plum,
Ooh, nice.
otherwise known as dwarf ambarella. In Vietnamese it's called Kak Tai.
Or golden apple.
Golden apple. It is a small green fruit that you eat green. If you allow them to turn yellow, they get kind of bitter and they get fibrous.
Nice.
And they'll fruit pretty much throughout the year whenever it's warm. Good container plants.
Very good.
Royal Poinciana, of course. No yard is complete without one of those.
Whenever I do a live video to my Facebook gardening group, the Urban Gardening Group, somebody always says, show us the poinciana, because they know that you're watching.
Who told you to plant?
You.
What did it look like when you planted it?
It was this tall.
Yeah, exactly.
And now it's literally 20 feet tall.
And what did I tell you when you planted it?
That is your favorite tree in my
I said it was going to be the nicest thing in your yard.
And it does look like a
And that
very...
includes you. That tree is the nicest thing in your yard. Behind us here we have a red curry,
Wow.
which is a little stronger than the traditional curry.
Can I smell some?
Yeah.
I know if I take this and vigorously work it, I'll get that curry smell.
Yeah, you don't even have to vigorously work it. You just actually just smell it.
Yeah.
Curries are notoriously slow growers in pots. This thing here is about 8 years old. And we planted this about 6 months ago. Once it's in the ground, they'll really take off. But in pots, they just sit. They do not grow in containers.
That smells amazing.
Yeah.
Want to smell?
Nah, I'll pass. Thank you. Appreciate the offer. Another mango. This one here is a fruit punch mango. Same thing as the sunrise. Put it in the ground. It dropped all the old beat up growth. Put on new foliage, and it's looking good.
I'll tag a video in the upper right corner of this video that will show a mango tasting we did where we tasted some of these fruity varieties of mangoes. Fruit punch mango actually tastes like fruit punch.
Yeah, like Hawaiian punch.
It's amazing, yeah.
Behind us, there's another loquat. Going this way, this is the Indian green thornless jujube.
Okay. This looks like you just planted it.
Yeah, a few months ago.
Cool.
It's starting to take off now. And then behind here is a Thai white guava.
And I always tell people for the desert Southwest, the guava is one of my favorite top 12 fruit trees because it can take the cold, evergreen, takes the heat, and it really does produce a lot of fruit.
It's on my top 9 list, but okay, top 12.
Really?
Sure.
Okay.
That's fine. Okay. Then behind it we have dwarf Puerto Rican plantains.
Wow. And a really nice looking loquat.
Another loquat, and then behind it is the first Aravaipa that was planted here.
The first Aravaipa avocado.
Correct.
Let's go check out the avocado forest. So I've been around the last few years as you've been planting these avocados, and you've got at least 20 or more avocado trees here on site. How many avocados do you have planted here?
We have 7 or 8 different varieties planted here in Glendale. And then at our new place at Green Life down on 19th Avenue in South Phoenix, we have some Aravaipas planted. We're going to do some more tomorrow, and we're going to plant some other varieties as well.
And if folks want to get any kind of fruit trees from you, they can go to Green Life. What's your website?
Greenlife by ShamusO'Leary.com.
And they can make an appointment there on the website.
Yeah, in the busy season, we do need an appointment just because it gets a little hectic. But for most of the year, if you just call us first to make certain that we're there, that would suffice.
Cool. And they would go to that 19th Avenue baseline location.
Correct.
I'll tag a video down below where you and I, with Greenie's Garden, went to find the mother avocado tree that the budwood was taken off of to create these kind of babies, grandbabies.
Correct.
So this is called the Aravaipa avocado because the mother grows in the Aravaipa Canyon.
Correct.
And has been grown in Arizona for over 100 years.
Yeah.
And this is one of the grandbabies grown from a scion, basically like a branch of that
Budwood.
mother tree,
Yeah.
the budwood.
This guy here is about coming up on 4 years old, and it was planted in heavy shade.
Yeah.
And now it actually needs a bit more sun.
Right.
So it's all the growth is coming this way, trying to reach to the sun. So what I'm going to have to do here quickly is prune back part of that pecan tree to get some more sun, because it's really, now it's moving slow.
Right.
But it's been putting out a lot of root growth. This tree is established. You can see the foliage on it.
Yep.
It's really dense. The leaves are thick. They're kind of hard. So
And this is coming out of the summer, which is the hardest time of the year for avocado.
Yeah. The first year when it didn't have all the foliage, in summer of 2016, it got some scalding on the trunk, got black, but it made it through it, and now it has enough foliage to protect itself. So the key with avocados is plant them in the shade, somewhere heavily protected, and then allow them to grow into the sun. Don't place them out in full sun and expect them to thrive. You have to baby them, forget about them, make sure they're properly watered. They need a lot of food because avocados are fast-growing plants. They're hungry, so they need a ton of compost, worm castings, mulch.
They need that microclimate for a couple of years.
Yeah, they need this to get started.
And now you can strategically prune back the pine, the pecans, to give more light to this established avocado.
Correct.
That now has been hardened off.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's see some of the other avocados you have here.
Sure.
So one of my favorite fruits in the world is ice cream bean, where the pods can be this big or bigger. You open up the bean, there's white fluff on the inside that you eat, and it's sweet.
Correct.
Cotton candy-like.
Yep.
And you got one of the trees here.
Yeah.
And we actually picked this up together, I think, from one of our gardening fruit tree adventures.
Yeah, about 2 years ago. This was a small 5-gallon plant.
Yeah.
And the first winter of 2015, was the worst winter we had in 50 years. And the tree died back completely to the ground. And I cut it about 6 inches from the ground. I saw there was still green, so I left it alone. And this is what's happened since then.
Since going in the ground.
Since going in the ground.
Flood irrigation, microclimate, mulch.
Mulch. We did a mulch video on this about 3 or 4 months ago. We've added a good 2 foot of mulch and caged around it.
Look at how much mulch is back in here on this tree.
And just in the past month, this has put on about 3 foot of growth. It's actually covering and shading the southern blush mango.
Yeah. And these trees get enormous.
Yeah, they do.
50-foot canopies or more.
Cold is the only enemy.
Right.
They love heat. They'll want some sun protection to get started, which is why it's underneath the pecan tree. Southern exposure, gets full winter sun. 3 months ago, we actually took off a branch of the pecan that was coming straight across here to give it better airflow and a little bit more sun. Now already, I'm going to have to go another 5 foot up and take off another branch of the pecan because this thing is.
But I bet you'll leave that branch through the winter to give it some insulation and do it in the spring.
Actually, I'm going to take it off now so that it gets more sun
before the cold happens.
Yeah, because I don't think that branch is going to do that much as far as cold protection.
Okay.
Getting full winter sun would do a lot more.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to try. We'll take about half of that branch off.
Okay.
But this thing's growing crazy, and the new growth on these are pretty.
And if the camera can pan up and see how epic your mature pecan trees are, it's pretty amazing up there. And if I kind of snake my way through the ice cream bean, I can pretty much grab a pecan off your tree, if that's okay.
No, put it back.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And inside the green, you can see the pecan. I mean, you really are like a millionaire of pecans. You got enough to make your own pecan butter, pecan pies.
I'm a billionaire of pecans.
Billionaire of pecans.
Yes, sir.
And then you probably use all this stuff as mulch.
Yes.
Perfect. Let's keep going. What's next?
This way. This is another banana pup that was planted about 3 months ago, and this came from Joey's yard as well. That is a Goldfinger banana.
Okay.
And right away, it started putting out fruit. I should have cut it off, but I just wanted to see the fruit and do some pictures on it.
So now you could cut the mom away, and the baby back here will take over.
Yeah, in fact, I'll probably cut this later today. I just left it just because I want to see the fruit growing. But
sure.
We'll take that down, and the pups will take off because now the energy is not wasted trying to support 3, 4, 5 different plants and then some fruit that's not going to mature anyway. So we'll take that off, and the other ones will take off pretty quick.
Cool.
And just FYI in regards to bananas, if you're looking for fruit production, leave just one pup. If you just want to see bananas grow, the plants themselves, then you can let all the pups grow. So if you want maximum fruit production, leave one pup, take the other pups off.
And give it all the energy.
Correct. You can just clip them off, or if you want to transplant them, wait till they're about 2 to 3 foot tall and then take them off.
Cool.
Behind us is another banana, one I've forgotten what that is. I believe that's another ice cream, I think.
Looks like you have a baby redland sapote.
I do, actually, yeah. That's a white sapote. This is a tamarind.
Ooh.
Just planted about 8 weeks ago.
Tamarind has that sweet kind of date-like bean. It's like a chewy, sweet bean that you eat the inside.
Right.
Okay, I'm interested to see if you get this to grow, because this will be amazing.
Yeah. Actually, Joey has a pretty large tree at his place that's been in the ground 2 years, and it's 10 foot tall, and it's gotten really bushy. It's doing well.
Maybe the next video we can go out to Joey's yard.
Yeah.
If Joey's cool with that. The RAR headquarters.
Jamaican cherry, otherwise known as strawberry tree.
Okay.
These things grow really fast. Horrible container plants.
Wow.
If you've got them in pots, take them out and put them in the ground.
That looks like a strawberry flower.
Yeah, that's why they're called strawberry tree.
That's amazing.
But these will get big. This was actually planted probably a little too close to the rest of the stuff, but whatever. This is a white sapote as well. That's a seedling that was planted about 2 years ago.
Wow.
And it's another one that was planted a little too close to the pecan tree. But
this one's looking really happy.
yeah, he's doing well. This here is a Sri Lankan gooseberry, which is also known as a tropical apricot. It grows a fuzzy purple apricot-like fruit. Loves heat, loves sun. This is the first year that'll be in ground unprotected. We'll see what it does this winter.
Yeah.
That's that guy.
Wow.
And then behind us is a Barbados cherry that was planted a couple months ago.
What's up with this Barbados cherry?
So this was planted a couple months ago, and it did okay the first few weeks, and then one day it just went. Don't know why, don't know how. Really not that worried about it. We've got more to plant. Not everything is going to make it. Nature weeds out the wheat. This plant didn't want to be in this
Just
spot,
like with humans.
You're exactly right.
But behind this accident, mistake, this tragic death, you've got two beautiful carambolas. Three that look amazing.
And that's the Valkyrie mango as well.
Valkyrie mango, and then carambola is star fruit.
Yeah.
These look fantastic.
And
Like,
these
they
are
look
already
really
fruiting.
good.
We're 2 months early this year on fruit.
Tons of flowers.
So inside the tree, I think more so on the other side of the tree.
We can see that. We can see the fruits right here starting.
There's actually a lot of fruit.
If we look at this branch right here, we can see the little baby star fruits right there.
And here's some large ones here.
Oh, look at the large ones. You're way early for that. Usually they're like they ripen in like
January.
April.
Yeah.
Or
well,
early year.
they'll flower in November, December, and then you get fruit in January. So we're about a month ahead of time. This was pruned back about 2 months ago.
And
It's
the
about
bees
6
are just
foot.
going to town on it right now.
Yeah.
The bees are all inside there.
And in regards to star fruit, you really don't want to allow them to grow in a tree shape because they get long and leggy and they're hard to protect, they're hard to deal with.
You want to keep them bushy?
Keep them at about 6 foot, and they'll bush out this way, and you get more fruit actually.
Wow.
And it's easier to deal with in a bad winter.
Okay.
And these are going to want afternoon shade in the summertime. You can see how lush and green it is.
Yeah.
It's on the east side of the pecan tree, so it gets sun till about noon, and then shade after that.
Wow. And then even if we pan over to the right and we look at the corner of your yard, you've got some new fig trees planted with some kind of squash or zucchini.
Yep. There's actually about 8 or 9 different figs that were put in the ground a couple months ago, and they're really taking off.
These figs are loaded, even though they're babies and they're small, they're loaded with figs.
Yeah.
This is a Peter's honey fig. And then behind it, I didn't know you planted things like squash and zucchinis and stuff like that.
we're starting to get a few vegetables in the ground. Let them cover the fence.
This looks amazing. And a great ground cover too.
Yeah.
And you've got some more loquat right here, which I know you love the fruit of loquat so much.
Yeah, loquat is one of my top 2 or 3, along with mangosteen, kai apple. This is an Italian giant loquat, and this was about a quarter the size 2 years ago. We've actually got a row of different loquats here, and they're really taking off.
And if we snake our way through to this star fruit over here, I can pick up this branch.
Oh yeah.
And check out how much fruit is down here on the star fruit tree.
I actually hadn't seen it.
When should we pick these star fruits?
When they yellow.
When they turn yellow.
Yeah, when the edges are a little bit green and the fruit is yellow.
Now we're getting into the food forest here. Come on back, let's go.
Now back over here is not a fruiting plant, but it is a plant that will improve the quality of your life just through the sense of smell.
What is this
is
one?
McKelly Alba, the joy perfume tree.
Yeah.
So we'll find something. Let's see if it has any flowers on it today. Maybe not.
I bet when it does flower, you can smell it across the yard.
You can smell 50 foot away.
Yeah.
These do require shade when it's hot.
Okay.
They can be container grown, but they struggle through the summer, so get them in the ground if you have somewhere shady to plant them.
And you got some more star fruit friends behind
There's a
you
lot of
here.
star fruit going on.
So it seems like Phoenix, Desert Southwest, is a good climate for star fruit if you have the proper
excellent
conditions.
choice. Yeah, star fruit is one of the easiest fruit trees to grow.
But don't just stick it in the full sun.
No. Afternoon shade when it's hot, a little bit of cold protection below mid-30s.
Lots of mulch.
Yeah, they can be container grown. prune them to about 6 foot. They'll get nice and bushy. They're a lot easier than pretty much everything else.
Wow.
Yeah, mangoes and loquats and everything.
Cool.
So there's more star fruit, and then behind us are some more avocados.
Yeah, maybe we can walk through this kind of quickly and mention the avocado varieties you have here.
We have Alula. There's another Aravaipa.
Okay.
And then behind us,
Another loquat, a tall loquat here to the right.
and actually behind you there is another banana.
What are these bananas?
Those are, if I remember correctly, manzanos.
Okay, which is the apple banana.
Correct. And you'll notice how pretty the leaves are because they haven't been shredded by the wind.
They're amazing.
So back between all the other trees here, it doesn't get as much wind. That's what your bananas will look like if you give them afternoon shade in the summer and a little bit of a wind break.
I'm telling gardeners these days that if you want to create a food forest and your yard is a blank canvas, you know, plant the perimeter of your property first and create that windbreak.
Yeah, mulberries, moringa, bamboo.
Anything native.
Anything that grows fast. Mesquite.
Mesquite's
right. Actually really good for that.
Or palo verde sometimes too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you've got that kind of perimeter windbreak covered, which makes your bananas and your avocados much happier. And
oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, now our problem actually is trying to get enough sun.
Yeah.
So, but that's a good problem to have.
This guy is an avocado that has more circular leaves.
This is a Catalina avocado. This is the king of avocado in regards to flavor and size.
And size, like a huge one.
Avocado.
Yeah, like circular almost.
Yeah, they'll get 2-3 pounds. They're huge.
Wow.
This needs to get a bit more sun, so we're going to start pruning back more of the pine tree.
But it's November right now, and usually avocados in the Phoenix area ripen in the late summer.
Yeah, August, September into November.
Cool.
This guy didn't have any fruit this year because we had strong winds in April and took all the flowers off all the trees. So there was nothing going on. But it's doing really nice. This is another one that doesn't get much attention other than just some mulching.
That's amazing.
And then back behind us, this guy here is a Simmons avocado.
Okay.
Needs a little bit more sun. He's doing fine. Some more loquat papaya that was planted a year ago as a 3-gallon plant.
Show us this papaya right here. This guy looks amazing.
This is a Mexican red, and this is a dwarf.
Wow.
So this is the mature size of a dwarf Mexican red. It is on flood irrigation, so it's a little bit more growth. But a 3-gallon plant a year ago.
Yeah. It looks really healthy, and I bet it stays much warmer in the winter in this little microclimate.
Definitely.
That's amazing.
Behind it there, we've got a large persimmon that's starting to go to sleep. That's a Hychia persimmon.
Are there any more Hychias on it?
There are not, because we knew you were coming, so.
Because that's my favorite fruit.
We cleaned them up.
Well, a lot of things are my favorite fruit,
That's
but
true.
I love Hychia persimmons. Looks like there's still 2 or so at the very, very top, but what I have found with people that grow persimmons, that the tree usually looks like crap.
Yeah.
Almost no matter where it's planted, but the fruit always is great. It's almost like it takes the energy from the leaves and pumps it into the fruit.
Correct. Yeah. A lot of trees do that. When they're fruiting, they get a little ragged looking.
Sure.
Canistel, yellow sapote, isn't doing a lot, not getting enough sun to really grow, but it's living.
Is that the egg fruit?
Yes. This here is a Donny avocado. And actually the first summer, the western side of the tree burned off completely. The trunk was black. It was odd looking because the entire side of that tree was dead. This entire side was lush and green. So it
You always favor trees that are having a struggling problem, and you want to bring them back.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So you're like the adopted father of these trees.
I don't know about all that, but when we're looking to plant something, I'll go through the inventory and find the stuff that no one wants, that's a little beat up, that's maybe broken. Because my thinking is if that tree is able to deal with some stress, that it's already been through a bit. You know, when I go to war, I want to go to war with someone that's
seasoned,
or already been through it. So I take the trees that need some TLC, and they always reward me. I don't pick out the prettiest trees. So he's doing really nice. Another jamun, Java plum, strawberry lemon guava, which needs to be staked up. This here is the king of bamboo. This is giant Burmese. And these will actually grow to over 100 foot with 8-inch culms, and they'll grow 6 inches a day here in Phoenix. So in another couple of years, this thing will be as big as the pine trees behind us.
Wow.
You can see the size of the foliage on that bamboo.
You gotta have me back and show me when it gets that tall.
Yep.
Because this does look like bigger foliage than any other bamboo I've seen.
And this was planted about 3 months ago. It was completely dead. It had a little bit of green in the trunk. It was neglected. It was sitting in a pot, forgotten about. We threw it in the ground, so all this is new growth the past couple months.
Wow.
Behind us, we've got more peaches, almonds.
So you do plant a lot of stone fruits as well.
Oh, yeah.
Apricots, peaches. And you have some beautiful apricots we're going to come upon in a second.
More mulberry. Asian pear. Behind me is the king.
You got a Hong Kong orchid back here.
There's a Hong Kong orchid, couple of those.
The flowers are edible.
They are, yes.
Yeah.
Over here is one of my favorites.
What is this?
Rainbow eucalyptus.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Look at the trunk, how it looks so beautiful. So the rainbow eucalyptus, as they get older and more mature, the trunk has multiple colors.
Now this was another one. It was the last. It was the picked over tree. It was found. It was a stick. It had 2 leaves on it. It was like 15 foot tall.
Yeah.
So we threw it in the ground about 5-6 months ago, and all of this has come since then.
Wow.
They need water. They need sun. They need food. Cold is the enemy when they're young. Give them some protection the first couple of years, but they want full sun, as much heat as possible. Tons of mulch. I actually need to remulch. You can see there's no mulch here, which is not good. I'll get to that later today.
Sure.
And this thing will double in size by this time next year.
Wow.
And we're actually starting to see the colors on it too.
What kind of almond is this? Garden Prince or all-in-one or?
I forget, we planted a few of them. I don't remember what is what. I have to refer
This
to
is the
chart.
best looking almond I've ever seen in the Phoenix area.
Well, thank you.
Seriously.
I didn't have anything to do with
They
it.
always die and look like crap. You got one doing pretty well.
Give them water.
What kind of flowers does it have? Pink or white?
White.
It's probably an all-in-one almond, I'm guessing.
Maybe.
We'll come back in the spring and see what color. Cool. That's amazing. So it looks like you've got a beautiful orange here.
Yeah.
And you've got this pomegranate that's by far the biggest one I've ever seen. This pomegranate is massive. I mean, it's loaded with fruits. And look at this guy. How old do you think this tree is?
20, 30 years at least.
Wow.
This is one that I wish I could take good pictures of, but I
Yeah.
can't because of the size of it. So I never show it.
Wow.
That's a small fruit there, but they get a lot larger.
They do. You've got this epic pomegranate here to your left. You've got this great orange here to the right.
Yeah.
And you've got this gigantic pecan that towers, maybe 50 feet above us up top. And then on the fence here low, you guys can see there's a passion fruit vine that's growing over the entire fence.
And this was planted about 1.5 years ago. And there's 2 vines here in the ground, one at each end of the fence.
Yep.
And it's covered all the way down. So this is what a mature passion fruit will look like.
And the leaf structure looks amazing on this.
They need something to climb on, so a trellis or chain link fence, and they'll fill in really nice. Like I said, this was planted April of 2016, a couple vines, and it goes down, whatever that is, probably 60, 70 foot.
And then the flowers are like an ocean, like sea anemone or something like that.
Oh yeah, beautiful.
And then they close up and they do actually grow a lot of fruit in Phoenix.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Is this one come a yellow fruit or a purple fruit?
This is the purple, this is a Frederick, that's the common one.
Yeah.
Actually on our pre-sales that are gonna come out on our website, New Year's Day, 12:01 a.m., we're gonna have 5 different varieties of passion fruit, including the Hawaiian lilikoi, Panama red, yellow passion fruit, purple possum, and giant granadilla, which is the largest passion fruit on earth.
Where do folks go to buy that on January 1st?
greenlifebyshamusoleary.com.
Okay.
And all that stuff will come out live 12:01 a.m. for pre-sales, and then pickups will be end of February, beginning of March.
12:01 a.m. on January 1st.
Yes,
Cool.
when everyone's drunk.
And you've even got next to the property here all these wonderful beds that have asparagus.
Oh yeah,
This is some like 2-year-old epic looking asparagus here.
a lot of veggies going on in between the trees.
For sure. Wow, you're growing some pear tree here.
Yeah, it's an old tree. I had never seen or tasted a tree ripened pear until we moved in here.
You got some beautiful mulberry going on here, and in Phoenix, it's the male mulberry that wrecks people's allergies with the pollen, but the female only produces fruit.
Correct.
It does nothing to hurt anybody.
Yeah, don't pay attention to what you read on the internet. Female mulberry trees are not illegal to plant. They're not going to affect your allergies.
And they actually are really important to plant because they're a major food source, especially in March.
Yeah.
March is like mulberry time.
And they grow super fast. You get shade from them. They're mature size within 4 years. This guy here was about 10 foot tall a year ago.
Is it purple or a white?
This is a purple. Mulberry tree is king. Every yard should have a mulberry tree. It doesn't matter the type. They're all good. They're good for shade, canopy tree.
I mean, this apricot tree looks perfect.
Yeah.
The shape, the size, I'm sure puts off thousands of fruits.
We had thousands, and this year was the first time we actually made some jams out of it. Yeah, we actually had a lot of fruit come off of this.
That's awesome. So this guy will lose its leaves in about a month or so, and then they ripen really quick, right, all at once.
Yeah, and you get fruit for about 3 weeks. That's a lot of fruit.
Yeah.
So pick it, freeze it, do what you're going to do.
Yeah.
But this tree is about 5 years old.
Wow.
This was planted before we got the property.
Looks amazing.
And then behind us are a couple figs.
And right outside the oleander hedge, there's a major road, so we are in the city.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. People can hear it.
50 foot that way is 59th Avenue.
Yeah, which is a pretty popular street.
Yeah.
It's got this big tree right here against the oleanders.
Those are right in front of you.
So this is your purple fig to go with your, probably a black mission fig or something. Wow, this one looks amazing. So when people are planting figs, they should definitely plant a few different varieties.
Oh yeah. They're pretty trees.
And even when they're a little bit shrivelly like that, I still go for it. Can I go for it?
Definitely.
That's fantastic. It's like eating jam. It is like jam.
They need a little bit more sun. They get a little too much shade here next to the oleanders, but
what's going on
they're
here?
doing fine.
This is fantastic. I'm sure you eat these all the time.
All the time.
On your
Nothing else.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch and Fruity
My
Pebbles.
entire diet consists of figs from this tree.
One of the best fruits for fiber.
That's what I've heard.
Arizona ash is important because I know they lose all their leaves, and then you have constant mulch coming into your property. So even if it's not edible, it should have a purpose, and it should help to create healthy soil by the mulch.
Correct.
Or the shade, or the windbreak, or whatever else.
Yep.
Thank you so much for the tour of your wonderful property here. We
you.
could have easily spent another hour here today because there's so many like little details, and there's so many growing methods and air layers and grafts you're working on in between just the major trees you're excited about. So I want to say to folks out there, grow your own food, because you guys saw a lot of what my friend Shamus O'Leary here is growing, but there's so much smaller stuff that if you guys would be here in person, you could see that the camera didn't have time to pick up. So grow it yourself, and you'll be amazed at the big successes you'll have, like an avocado or a star fruit, but you'll also be amazed at the little successes you get that are in between that nobody ever knows about.
Exactly.
What would you say to folks out there watching are some of your tips to close out this video of how to be a successful gardener, especially if you're starting from scratch?
Understand the microclimates that you are working with
In your yard.
in your yard, and how to create new microclimates. Understand proper feeding and watering. Most people underestimate, including myself, how much food these plants want. So you really have to get dialed in with proper composting, mulching, worm casts, foliar feeding, fish emulsion, seaweed, the whole 9 yards.
What you just mentioned, like when you are feeding the tree, how often do you put those things around the roots of the tree?
We have a schedule on our website, and each type of feeding has a different schedule to it.
Each type of tree?
No, actually each type of feeding.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So just make sure that your trees are being fed properly, that they're being watered properly. That's not with drip lines, bubblers or hand water or flood irrigation. Understand your microclimates, plant at the right time of year. Don't worry too much about, I get a lot of questions, my tree, I planted it 3 weeks ago and it hasn't grown any. Stop that.
It's establishing roots.
Correct. Some trees will take a year or two under the ground before they'll put any growth on top. Stop measuring time in days when it comes to plants. Just make sure it's being taken care of and it'll do something.
Give it the shade, give it the wind protection, give it the microclimate. Don't just stick it out in the middle of the sun and fry it.
Correct.
And then as long as it's got the proper microclimate, the roots are establishing themselves.
Proper microclimate is number one. Feeding and watering is number two.
Can you just like rifle off some of your favorite fruit trees right now of the ones we saw today in this video.
Loquat, Kai apple, Barbados cherry, guava, ice cream bean, apricot definitely.
Probably mulberry and starfruit.
Mulberry, definitely. Starfruit, definitely. Sri Lankan gooseberry is becoming one of my favorites. I got to try that fruit for the first time this year.
Royal poinciana.
Royal poinciana, monkey pod, rainbow eucalyptus, African tulip, which we didn't show on the video, is absolutely going crazy over there.
Well, it's a pleasure to always come back and show updates of your yard, and I hope you'll have me back in another year.
Yeah, keep
We
hoping,
can do like
but we'll
a-
see. That's fine.
Maybe like a yearly update. If enough people hit the like button and comment and show an interest in this, maybe we can do like a yearly update, and this could be like an ongoing video journal
Definitely.
of your 2-acre Green Life West food forest process and life.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
I'll see you next time. Follow us both on Instagram, Jake Mace Tai Chi and Shamus _O'Leary_ for more.